Books on Books on the Brain.
Welcome back to Books on the Brain, a podcast of books and nonsense. I'm Danielle.
I'm Deirdre.
So our guest today is someone who we have been championing on this very podcast for almost every season, like clockwork. Her alien romances constantly have us wondering, why are we not getting kidnapped and married off to a hot alien? Her latest release in the Cacanian series was Bewitching Rago, and we are very excited to pick her brain about all things monster, alien, and romance. Please welcome to the podcast, Victoria Aveline.
Hello. Yay.
I panicked. We are so excited. Okay, like clockwork, every season, they're just like, what are you reading? I'm like, the next Cacanian series came out.
And I'm like, oh good, me too.
That's what I'm reading. It's time for the boys. The boys are back in town, and I'm excited. It is like my favorite part of the year. It's like Christmas. It's like, the next one's out. I get to read it. I'm so freaking excited to have you on the pod, because we also don't often get a lot of romance authors on. So I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
we have a lot of fantasy authors, but we've had a couple of romance in the past.
Yes.
Couple friends.
Couple friends.
We're fun. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Hello, you're the life of the party. Come
Yeah.
on. How's everybody's day going? How was everyone's Friday? And May 1st is when we're recording this, but how's everybody's 1st of May?
It was sunny. I can't complain. I got to look at blue skies all day, which was nice. And I was working remotely, so I texted my team midway through the day and I was like, I'm walking away for 30 minutes. I need to go outside and take my lunch break
Good for
in the
you.
outdoors. I was like, I'm walking away from my computer. So.
Yeah, it's sunny here too. It's beautiful. I had a great day. Woke up, coffee,
Yes.
wrote, ordered lunch, wrote,
Oh,
came here. It's been amazing.
yeah, the best day. The
Best day.
I was a little hungover this morning, so it took me a second to get
Well-
into things.
Sometimes that happens, you know? Thirsty Thursdays, being what they are.
Yeah, it was a press party for the new book club bar in Brooklyn, which we're very
Ooh.
excited about. But they plied me with espresso martinis, and I had too
Those
many.
devils.
How dare they? How
I know.
dare they? It was beautiful. It was 20 degrees Celsius. I'm in Canada. It's 20 degrees Celsius today, and it was gorgeous, beautiful. I wore shorts to school. I was like,
Ooh.
wore shorts
Look
for
at
the first time.
you.
All my EAs, my educational assistants who are in my classroom, were like wearing like their winter coats still, and I was like, "You guys are crazy. It's summer. Get with it. We are wearing
I
shorts."
know, but here's the problem. Now that you've worn shorts, we're gonna get a storm in 2 days.
Right.
Hey, it's Calgary. Calgary, we're gonna get Chinook in 7, which I'm like, that's okay. We're gonna get snow and sun and snow and sun. And if that happens, I will take full responsibility. And I'm so sorry. I just really wanted to wear shorts today. Deirdre and I are big romance girlies. We like to talk about it like astrologically. It's like,
Oh yeah.
what about you, Victoria? What's your big 3 for reading?
Fair enough. So I would say for books, because like I feel like for media it's different, but specifically for books, I'm gonna say like romance is my son, for sure. But probably specifically like paranormal romance.
Ooh.
And then I would say it's hard because I'm such a big romance girl, so I'm automatically thinking that my moon would be another kind of romance.
Yes, go queen, go.
Maybe like a sci-fi or a fantasy would be my son. And then I agree, horror. I turn to horror when I am upset, for sure. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
When I need to be upset, I will go to horror. I love that.
You know,
Yeah.
I feel like I've talked about that, especially like good for her style horror. You know what I mean? When the woman comes, it feels like you can do anything. Look at what they're doing. They had a ghost that was killing everybody and they're fine. Like,
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I love that. like cathartic. You're like, she gets to live the dream, I never will, which
I
is like,
know she gets to like
Yeah.
inflict all of this violence on
I
everybody
know.
and then walks away and she's the hero and
And
she's
everyone likes her.
and
Come on.
everyone likes her and she's taking care of the bad guys and good for her.
I'm
Yeah.
proud of
Yeah.
her. Yeah.
I get to live vicariously through those kinds of books because,
Right?
like, it is not acceptable to
Yeah.
walk around with a
Mm.
sword,
Mhm.
beheading people, and like exacting vengeance for those that have done you wrong. So I can accept that in the books that I read, it is acceptable, and I
Yes.
can cheer them on and, have that release.
Yeah, exactly.
You get to play dolls. You're like, I get to play my
Exactly.
Barbies, my grown-up Barbies now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Good.
The grown-up
Uh,
Barbies in my head.
the grown-up Barbies in my head. Love. Okay, first question of the night. Victoria, who was your first introduction to with paranormal romance? Like, what was your first paranormal romance book that you read that you were like, what?
Oh,
This is
so the very first paranormal romance that I read was a book called and there's two authors from this time period and they both have three names and I get them confused all the time. But the book is called Blood and Chocolate.
Mm.
You ever read that? It's like a
on.
teen romance. It probably came out in like the 90s and maybe I read it in like the 2000s. Maybe Annette Curtis Claus, perhaps.
Okay. Annette Curtis Claus, yes, you got it, dude. That's
Well,
Ding,
here's
ding,
the
crazy.
ding.
thing. That book was formative for me in a lot of ways. So I'll give you the premise and for the listener, I'm going to spoil it because part of the reason I love it so much is the ending. So I'm sorry in advance and earmuffs if you don't want to hear.
Fair.
But it's a teen paranormal romance in which the girl is a werewolf and she's a part of a werewolf pack, as they are, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I read a lot. I was a big reader as a kid, so I've read that before, right? She's her story, right? And I didn't really know exactly that it was like a romance, or not like an adult romance, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where that was the focus of the plot, basically. And so she's falls in love or she loves this boy, and there's content warnings, I guess. I didn't really realize that at the time, but she falls in love with this boy at high school and he's just like a human boy and she's like he won't love me when I'm a werewolf, and I'm like, oh yeah, probably not because he's like a little dweeb, I guess. And there's this other like werewolf pack alpha who's much older and is like pursuing her a little bit and wants to get with her. And at that point in time, I was like, oh, I love him. It's too bad she won't end up with him. Very last chapter of the book, werewolf or human boy is like, hates her because she's ugly and a werewolf and all of this stuff. He comes to her window, they make out, and she's like, actually, werewolf man, this is what I wanted the whole time, and that's how it ends. And I'm like, what? What? This can happen? This is real? We can have this? And from that point on, I was like, okay, I now know what world is out there for me, and I'm gonna dive in hard. And I did, and that was it. That was it. I was like, because you always watch, you're like, well, why can't she end up with him? He's so cool, and I know that he's the bad guy, but it never happened in the books that I was reading at that time, and then it did finally, and I was like,
The
and I
last
will
chapter, though,
never,
you're like, come on, man.
and I will never forgive. There was a movie adaptation.
Oh,
I will never forgive them. Do you guys remember that movie Unfaithful with
faithful.
that Diane, the beautiful Diane? She was also in Under the Tuscan Sun. Diane something. She's beautiful. She's
Dan
beautiful.
Lane?
Yeah, Diane.
Oh, okay.
But in the movie, there is she has an affair, spoilers, she has an affair with a very beautiful French man.
Ooh.
And he plays the werewolf alpha in this movie. But guess what they did? They don't make them end up together because the world's not ready. They are cowards. I know.
That is coward. That is coward
cowardly.
behavior.
It was cowardly and I hated it. And anyway.
Because how are you going to change the plot?
I mean, I guess she was in high school when he was much older and like maybe had a thing with her aunt one time, but
So what?
So what?
It's before the
They aged
2000s.
her up in
That's
the
not our
movie. Why
business.
couldn't they just,
Come on now.
I don't know.
Come on, guys. That's crazy.
They were not ready. They just were
Weren't
not.
ready.
They were
No.
ready for it in publishing. They were not ready for the masses to
Yeah,
experience it.
exactly. And then, that author, if you dive into like those authors of the time, I feel like they were really instrumental. I think she also did one called like Silver Kiss or something. I feel like that's one of the first
Mm,
blonde vampires I saw in a book.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
there was like another author, and she did books like Hawk Song, and like there were snake shifters and hawk shifters and all of this stuff, and it was all
Right.
that really got me into it. Long-winded, but that's
So
No.
good. So good. I feel like um my like first paranormal romance was probably all of the vampire books I read growing up. Like
Yeah.
the Anne Rice of it all, the Stephanie Meyer of it all. Vampire Kisses was a big one for me. I read a lot of like I would just go to the library and I'd be like, what's the newest release of the teen vampire books?
Mhm.
And so informative. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's they're my like oldest books that I still have copies of is like the Vampire Academy books and like books that I'm like I'll
Oh
never read
yeah.
them. I won't reread them, but they're mine forever.
Of course. Yes, of course. Yeah, I think mine was probably Twilight, if
Yeah.
Yep.
I am thinking correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So where Danielle and I kind of exist online, I think both of us have seen this rise in people enjoying monster romances. And I'd love to know like what initially drew you to, you talked a little bit about what drew you to the genre as a reader, but what's drawn you to the genre as an author? And then in tandem with that, as an author, why do you think people enjoy it so much?
Well, like I said, I was reading romance pretty early and uh, pretty voraciously. And so I got into a lot of really deep romance holes real early on. And then when Kindle started being a thing, I was in it. I was in it. And those monster romance books and, alien romance books, they've existed for a really, really long time. And
Yeah.
I was a fan for a really long time. And so when I was like thinking about my own books, I do remember specifically though the first sci-fi romance book that I ever read and thinking, this is it. This is the one. And it was a Lauren Donner book, and it was
Mhm.
I think it was like Raoul's Woman or something like that, And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this is it. This is it. And I think what I liked about sci-fi specifically was that, when you're reading fantasy, there's like preconceived, things that you have to work with, right? It's kind of
Mhm.
a lot of the times a little bit medievally, or,
Mhm.
there's orcs, or there's these things that everybody is very familiar with that they're expecting when they read a fantasy. And the same was true for paranormal in a lot of ways. You can
Yeah.
expect witches, vampires, werewolves, but sci-fi, anything. You could do anything. It could be basically a paranormal world, but on another planet. Like you could have paranormal and you could do literally anything that you wanted, and it felt kind of like a untapped area for creativity where you could really
Mm.
go wild and just make whatever you wanted it to be. And so that really drew me to sci-fi because I could create a whole world and I could make all of the rules, and nobody would say, well, it shouldn't be that because in Tolkien's this, then they do this. It could be whatever. And so I really, really liked it because of that. And then I think, honestly, the rise in popularity of monster romance, I mean, because we always had the popularity for werewolves and vampires and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, we've always loved the beast. Like it's always been
Yeah.
there, right?
That
Um,
is true.
you know, but I think that indie publishing specifically really, really pushed that to the forefront because I think, people in trad sometimes are cowards, like we were talking about. Like they didn't necessarily want to write or want to publish books where the love interest is an unattractive monster in whatever way. And I think indie was very willing to go there, and they know that that's what the people wanted. And
Yeah.
and then I think once it was established enough in the indie space and indie, reading began becoming very popular with like KDP or Kindle Unlimited.
Mhm.
I think that it really gave the genre the opportunity to shine and to show everybody how lucrative and how wonderful, how great it was.
Absolutely.
So I think that's kind of where I fell in love with it and like where I think how it became so popular. But I think the reason that people love it so much is because I think it really does a good job of exploring like um loving unlovable parts of people
Mm.
and like exploring things, how to find beauty in things that other people don't find beauty in. Or and I also think that monster romance does a really really excellent job of um being inclusive and like
Yeah.
showing different body types, showing different kinds of diversity. And I think they did that earlier than a lot of other genres in a different kind of way. So I think people really love that aspect of it because it's like, you know, in contemporary, you know, I still love it, but it's like, you know what their flaws are. They're human flaws, they're flaws that we're all familiar with, but I think exaggerating them to a monstrous degree kind of makes the stakes even higher and it makes you're like forced to find common ground in a different way. And I
Mhm.
think people really respond to that.
Yeah, it like really changes the stakes
Mm-hmm.
in an exciting way. Like you can read the same relationship dynamic in a monster romance and a paranormal romance in a contemporary romance, and it's all going to feel differently because of the obstacles that are put in front of them.
Yeah. And like you said, the stakes are can be so much higher because it's like, you know, if you're unless it's a dark romance, you're if your guy in your contemporary accidentally kills somebody one time, it's kind of a deal breaker, you know, for contemporary. But in Monster, it's like, well, it happens.
It,
It happens
it
sometimes, you know?
happens.
Or like she was abducted to a planet. How could she ever mentally recover? How could she move on with her life? I'm like, well, she does, because that's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Kitty Tax.
This is
That's so cute.
walnut.
Huh?
This is walnut.
Walnut.
Yeah, walnut, and then my other one is almond. He's somewhere else.
Oh,
They're little stinkers. What I think what I think is really fun about alien romances because I feel like there was a period during the pandemic where like alien romances like blew up online.
Yes.
Like not that they hadn't existed before, but I feel like because of online spaces like Book Talk, like
yeah.
Bookstagram, um, people were talking about them more and they were becoming more visible.
Yep.
Um, but there's just something so like beautifully like escapism,
Yeah.
right? Like it's just like because sometimes I will read like traditional romance or whatever. And I'll be like, I just don't like I love this story, but I'm like, I feel like I'm still like I want to be further away.
Yeah.
I want to like let go of my thinking brain and just be like my I'm feeling and having fun brain.
You're
Uh
like trapped within the expectations of society a little bit
yes.
more. Yeah.
Or even
Yeah.
I
like
feel
just
like that too. I mean, even like when there's a sex scene in a contemporary, I'm like, did you guys talk about condoms? And it's like something like
Right.
that where I don't really want to think about it. It doesn't have to be in sci-fi in the same way or in fantasy in the same way because you know there's like a potion or whatever. But
yeah,
Mhm.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And like there's something so like fun and freeing about having just a scenario or a setting where you're like I can see myself in this character, but I'm also like not inserting myself. Like as someone I read a
Yeah.
lot of like fan fiction growing up and I'm like so I would read a lot of like self-insert stuff and I'm like it's really nice to read something where I'm like I can insert myself into this, but also like there is a separation of like I can just enjoy this as a piece of art rather than like oh my own relationship, oh my own this, blah, 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 my
Yeah.
worries,
Yeah.
right?
This
Yeah.
reminds me of this person.
Right.
Exactly.
I think for me, even the like escape part of it is that I am not constantly thinking about all the things I'm missing. Like there's usually a political component involved. There's tension in the relationship, there's tension on the world, and I'm able to do the escaping while also being satisfied that authors
Mhm.
are acknowledging that worlds are complex and stories are complex, and especially like in series like yours where it's a long series, it's several books, there's a lot to explore and talk about. I find it so much more satisfying, and I feel like I can actually escape instead of being like, where are the condoms?
Yeah, yeah, I feel like
What
that's
kind of clothes are they
probably
wearing?
like why sci-fi specifically blew up when it did, right? During
Yeah.
COVID, during lockdown, everybody wanted to escape.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yeah.
very much so.
What was your experience like during that period? Like
I mean,
what were you feeling?
well, honestly, for me it was it's hard to say it in a not odd way, but it was a great time for me because
Mhm.
Hmm.
it just
Hmm.
happened to be coincidentally that I was releasing my first book, Choosing Theo, in March of 2020, which is
Crazy.
when we went into lockdown. And so I had, just a lot of luck in that people were wanting to escape and they found my book. And then I think like in May, that's when Ruby Dixon blew up, right?
Yeah.
And so then I had everybody, our whole genre had spillover from that. And so by the time things opened up again, I didn't have to go back to work. And it was like, this was horrible for so many people and I feel bad, but it was good for my career. So,
Right.
Absolutely. People
Right.
needed your stories. Like you were telling important stories and providing people a really important service at a hard time in their life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And like you said, you were are a voracious romance reader. We are both voracious romance readers. If there's anything romance readers know about themselves, we are voracious. So when you find something that you want, it
Right.
usually is beneficial to like everybody in your subgenre,
Yeah.
absolutely.
because like people are constantly like, how do I get more of this? Like we
Well,
see it with Bridgerton, we saw it with Ruby Dixon and the aliens. Like it's just all kind of
yeah, I mean, like when, and all of the authors that I knew at that time, when she got really, really popular, we were all very excited because it's like, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's visibility on the genre and everybody benefited. Yeah.
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 As you all deserve.
Yeah.
Well deserved. Um, speaking of like internet, like fame kind of propelling the genre a little bit. I went back to your website. I went a couple like I don't know, like a couple months ago. I can't remember. But then I went back in preparation for our interview, and I saw that you have discrete covers for the series now. How exciting! First of all, want to say love. I think they're gorgeous.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank
But as an author, what was the decision to make discrete covers? Like I know, but what was your thought process behind having discrete covers for the Canadian series?
I mean, it really was just like it was a business decision. I mean,
Mhm.
I love a man chest. I love a man chest. I'm not going to apologize. It's the crux of the genre and I
Yeah.
love it. And so that's what I wanted the cover to be, but I know that not everybody likes that. And I know that especially in the crossover from like romantasy, they're a
Mm,
lot initially not to like make a sweeping statement, but they're less likely to pick up a man chest cover like that than they would be, a discreet cover. So just
sure.
as a business decision, I thought it was good. And then also, people might love the man chest cover, but they might have kids, or they might have somebody at home that they don't want seeing it, which, it's a man's torso.
They're beautiful.
Whatever.
They're
So I
beautiful.
wanted to be
They
able
are
to have
stunning.
options for people who, want to have a copy or display it. And I've even had people who have asked me to do the discrete cover as an alternate ebook cover too, because they don't want
Oh.
the man chest like on their ebook screen or their Kindle because they
Mm.
share their Kindle with whoever. And I'm like, that would be a really big headache. So I can't do that because I can't publish two ebooks.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, guys.
I mean I get it. So it was really a decision for that reason.
I love that. I feel
Yeah.
like there's been like a shift. Like
Mhm.
we talked about I can't remember when you did your book report. No, it wasn't was did you do the thrust or was that Meg the romance covers?
Me. Yeah,
Who
yeah.
is me? Sorry.
No,
But
okay. I was
we
like, what are we talking about?
what do you mean? We do book reports where we research topics and we bring them and we talk about them.
Oh,
But
very
Deirdre
cool.
did one about romance covers and how
Yeah.
they have evolved over.
Specifically, like the bodice ripper.
That's what I
Oh,
meant.
Like,
When I
okay, wait.
said
I love
trust,
a
I did mean bodice
but
ripper.
I need to let them out because they are playing right next to me and they're driving me up a wall.
Go!
no problem.
Go!
I love a clinch cover. I love them
Yes.
so much.
They're so good.
They're gonna break the door. I mean, if I could hire the people, because those beautiful clinch, I'm like looking at some of them in my thing, but
Yeah.
the beautiful clinch covers, like they're like a painting created from like a photo shoot. And if I found somebody who still does that like that, I would
Mhm.
hire them in a minute. But I can't, they just don't exist like that anymore.
They don't
Yeah.
make them
That
like they
way.
used to.
Not in that like
They really don't.
exaggerated, you know,
Yeah.
So good.
love them. I love
Yeah.
them so much.
But we were talking about like the progression of the clinch cover into like what we're kind of for most contemporary romance now, like in this cartoon cover,
Mhm.
animated cover like phase, which feels like in its own way its version of discreet
Yes.
covering, where it's like people want to continue reading these stories. There's no issue with the stories that they're reading, but there's like this perception from others about them. But I love that you have an option for people that like they don't give two poops, and then also like I maybe give a half a poop, and I want a
Well,
cool discreet cover.
yeah, I mean, I had a live yesterday or Wednesday, and I was talking to people about this specific thing, and I was saying like one of the reasons that I feel like people don't really, I mean, you guys probably understand, but like the bookstores, they don't usually, or they're getting better about it, but they haven't wanted to put chest covers, they haven't
Mhm.
wanted to display them. And so
Yeah.
there's this shift to these cartoon covers that feel like something that's very displayable.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
But there's the argument on the other side of they look very young. So there's sexually explicit content in there. So it's like, would you rather have something that looks like what it is? And so people know whether or not to pick it up, or would you like
Right.
something that maybe is a little bit deceptive and might have stuff in it that you don't want certain, people, whoever reading?
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but I think another reason to have discrete covers is because bookstores still are very hesitant to display man-chest covers. And I haven't even seen a ton of clinch covers anymore, or they'll put them, they're not going to display them, they'll put them.
Yeah, like a lot of the historical covers, they're
Yeah.
all just lined up. They're not the
Yeah.
ones that are on display.
Which is a shame because they're beautiful.
Beautiful.
They're stunning.
I mean, in my opinion, much better than the cartoon covers. Like those are great too, but like the artistry to create a clinch cover is incredible.
It gives you a feeling. Like I look at cartoon covers, and not to poop on cartoon covers because I think they have their time and place.
Yeah.
But like I look at a clinch, I look at some of these older romance, and I'm like, I get a feeling. It evokes a feeling. It evokes
Mhm.
uh, like a sexuality and a sensuality that I'm like, oh yes, I get it. I look at a cartoon cover and I'm like, ah yes, a blonde person and a brunette person fall in love.
Back to
Yes.
back. It's edible.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, good.
There's
I think
maybe
there's
a
dog
door.
in it. Yeah. There's a cupcake. Good.
Oh, good. So, as we've said several times now, Danielle and I have been reading these books pretty much since the beginning. So, could you take us and our listeners back to where it all started? Where did the idea come from for the Clickanian series? Did you set out to write a long series? Because, like, in the first book, we meet Rhaego, who is your newest MMC. And like, what has this like mapping out process been like? Just tell us a little bit about where the series began.
Yeah. So specifically, I feel like my love of kind of this style of series or long series is from like Lauren Donner, Cressley Cole,
Mhm.
where in both of those series there's just a bunch of books, and sometimes the books have characters and plot that apply to the larger plot, and sometimes it's very loose, and sometimes she goes to a whole different world and you're like, I guess we're here now.
Yeah.
So I think that really spoke to me because I'm a pantser.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know what's going to happen in a book when I start writing it. I mean, now I've been forced to figure it out a little bit more just because there's a background plot that I have to know what's going to happen with that in order to carry it through in a satisfying way. But for like the
Sure.
specific characters, I don't really usually know exactly what will happen. And there are a lot of books where there are characters that I never knew existed, and then I meet them because I write them as a side character in something, and I'm like, oh, you need a book. Let's do your book too. Let's add you in somewhere. But initially with Theo, I think the first scene I thought of for that book is the scene where they have just gotten back to his house.
Mhm.
She thinks he can't understand her. He has updated his translator and he can understand her. And so she starts saying all of this stuff to him. And he basically reveals that he can understand everything she's saying. And she's pretty embarrassed about it. But that was the only scene I had. I didn't know that he was an alien. I didn't know where they were. I didn't know why they were married. I didn't know why he couldn't understand her. I didn't know any of that kind of stuff. So the way I work is very much that way, where I'll just have something that is a seed of something that I want to happen.
Yeah.
And then I will ask questions to kind of figure out, why is it happening? Where are we? How did we get here? What are the rules of this world that exist that would have led to this existing?
Mhm.
And so it kind of just all got built out from that one scene.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So cool.
I just reread Choosing Theo for the first time
Mhm.
since I read it. I like flip-flop on whether I'm rereading something or not. And so I was like, let me revisit this book.
Yeah.
That scene, still, I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah, so I feel like you always feel that. Like when I'm reading other books and there's a scene like that, I'm like, that's the one that the author was the most excited about. I feel like you can feel it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that that
oh,
happened.
like visceral reaction. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I was at work and I was like, whoa.
Kicking your feet, screaming.
So, from there I made all of the other like world building elements, and because I had to figure out, one thing is, why doesn't she want to be there? He seems great. Like, well,
That's
how
what
did
I'm
Pretty
that
great.
happen,
saying.
right?
He's pretty
And
great.
and I wanted there to be the tension between them, but it's like, why doesn't he like her? Because she seems great. So she's into him, he's into her. What are we doing? What's the conflict? And so, kind of all of the world building and everything, why they're there, how the world works, the school, all of that stuff was built out just from trying to figure out, asking questions. For all of my books, often what I do is I just lay around and I ask questions to myself.
Oh,
Oh, cool.
I love that.
Yeah. And it feels more like I'm learning it rather than creating it, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. So, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Love.
Because I love that when I come into your books, I'm never gonna be like, well, what about this?
Yeah.
Like you have almost, I guess because you've asked yourself all the questions,
I
you've
have an
answered
answer
all the
for
questions.
everything. I have answers for everything. And to the point where there's a lot of stuff that I have created that is never going to make it into the books because nobody cares. But it's like there's a time system, there's a calendar, there's, the moon cycles, there's holidays that happen on this day. There's all of this background stuff that I have that is just never going to make it in. I needed to know it, but
Yeah.
you guys need to know it. Yeah.
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 But that's sometimes my favorite, that is one of my favorite parts about like the best of
Hmm.
sci-fi fantasy, like authors that are able to know that there are parts of their books that we don't need to know.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to know how the calendar works
Yeah.
because you will end up telling me and I'll be able to figure it out
Yeah.
slowly through context clues, but you have figured it out and you know
Yeah.
how all of these background things work and you've fully created this world.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a piece of advice that I listened from an author that we won't talk about, but it was a good piece of advice.
Mm.
And they said, when you're describing a mountain range, you don't describe every single peak and valley and mountain. You describe one really well, and then the reader will assume that the rest exist in as much detail, but you don't have to describe them. And it's really good advice from someone we won't talk about.
A person.
A person.
Okay. I have to know.
Yeah.
Be honest.
Okay.
Who's the favorite?
Okay, I get that question a lot, and it's really difficult because the favorite for me, it's kind of who was easiest to write, right? Because it's like they didn't give me trouble. And so they're my favorite because when I look back on my experience of writing them, they were the smoothest.
The
right?
most enjoyable, yeah.
The most enjoyable. And it's funny because I think that really translates to people's favorite, honestly. So I have like 3 ones that are my top favorites, and it's Theo, Feho, and Sickbend. They were the easiest ones. I love all of them, but those are standouts for me. They were like the most fun to write, I think.
Who gave you the most trouble?
Yeah, who's a troublemaker?
I would say Luca, and it's both for the same reasons. Luca gave me the most trouble, and Rhaego gave me the most trouble. Okay. And I think it was because I felt a lot of pressure with both of them for different reasons.
Okay.
I had really, so they were both hard for different reasons. So Theo came out, and I hadn't really, I'm indie author, publishing on Kindle Unlimited in sci-fi romance. I had not expected that book to go anywhere at all for, I just didn't expect it. And it did. And then I had all of this time and I was like, well, I should write a book too. And I have to make sure that it's good because if it's not good, like you know what I mean? And so I think I just put a lot of pressure on myself, and I really, really sought advice. And so I had so much advice about it that it made it not great, the advice. You know what I mean? Because you're trying to make it good for everybody. And if you're trying to do that for everybody, then it ends up being, something that you don't want it to be. So I like where the book ended up, but it was very difficult to write. And then for Rhaego, I think the pressure is that everybody had been hounding me about Rhaego since book 1. And so I just felt such pressure to make sure that I delivered for people. So I had a hard time with him too.
Okay.
Rhaego's my fave.
Yay! I still, I have people who those are their favorites, both of those guys, but for the way I guess I judge favorites.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But you get to have a different opinion because you made them. They're yours. I just enjoy them. I just get to read the book and kick my feet and say hee hee hee. They're your brain children. Rhaego's but I feel like also with every book in the series, I'll finish the most recent one and be like, oh, that one was my favorite.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time my most favorite is whoever I'm currently writing.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. D, who do you like?
I'm obsessed with Theo. Oh my God, obsessed. And I really love Verico.
Oh yeah, Verico's great. I really liked him, and I guess I'm a slut for bitchy banter. I don't know. People were like, they're bickering at each other so much, and I'm like, yeah.
And that's my bread and butter, and that's what I want.
Yeah. Like, man, why can't they just have an adult conversation? I'm like,
no.
I guess
I want a little bit of distrust,
yeah,
like there is with Theo and Jade, and give me all the banter because they're both just in their feelings.
Yeah. You're surviving in the wilderness. I'm gonna be bitchy too if I'm out there.
Exactly. So okay, so we're getting into a little bit of a spicy question for us. I feel like we're actually pretty tame when we have authors on. So if you don't want to answer this question, totally get it.
I probably answered much spicier.
How do you map out the sex scenes? Is there drawing? Are you using Barbies?
Yeah.
You've got some pretty creative positions happening. Yeah. So where does it come from?
I think sometimes I have to sit down and be like, okay, what is reasonable? Like, how can we do this? Does this work? And so sometimes I will do that, but I think for a lot of, like I said, I'm a pantser, and so for the sex scenes, I don't necessarily know beforehand like where they're gonna be,
Yeah.
will be available to them. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
do they have floor? Do they have bed? Do they have grass? I don't
Do they
know.
have bath?
Do they have
Yeah.
bath? They always have bath.
They will.
And I'm
Always
so
have
thankful.
If you go back and you read my books, you will start to see that there is always cleaning. Even Verico and Lily, they were clean.
Yeah.
They were clean. I can't do it. I can't do that. Not clean. But they will always have bath. But for everything else, and then also I think part of it is like what emotional reason do I need to like fulfill for this sex scene to be
Right.
enjoyable? And so I think, for a more acrobatic one, maybe like for Rago, right? I want to make sure that it's very clear that he's kind of out of his mind a bit, you know what I mean? And he's like letting loose. And so things are flying all over the place for that reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think for like, maybe if and same thing for Theo, right? Like there was a purpose for how they ended up where they did and all of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But I think for actual choreography, it's just something that I like sit down and I try to picture to make sure that it works. And some of it doesn't. It doesn't work. And I know that because of height difference and size difference and all of that. And I'm like, you know what? This is part of the escapism. This
Suspension of
people want.
disbelief, baby.
They
Suspension
don't
Not my
want to
of
hear
business.
about
disbelief.
how she had to stand on a stool in order to reach the thing when she was bending. Like they don't want to hear that. They just
No.
want it to happen. So some stuff that is not realistic, I just let go because
It's not our business.
it's not
Not our business.
know when they shave or when they pee or how they fit each other.
Exactly. That's
Because they will fit.
They will fit. They're
It
gonna
doesn't
fit.
matter.
Mhm.
there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
love
there's
that.
feelers.
Okay. What advice, Victoria, do you have for someone who hasn't yet taken the plunge into like paranormal monster alien romances? Like what would you someone who's like interested obviously, but like doesn't feel yet the like push.
For reading them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, well, I guess it depends on what they are already reading.
True.
If,
Okay.
if they're like I read the romance that I like is Colleen Hoover, I would point them towards more spicy contemporary. If they're already deep in spicy contemporary, I might push them first to dark romance.
True.
And then maybe to romantasy, and then maybe to paranormal, and then to sci-fi. I feel like there's like a pipeline of I gotta have a little bit more, I gotta have a little bit more, I gotta have a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that feels like what the pipeline is to me. So it's like if they're at romantasy, I feel like I could get them over to sci-fi pretty easy. But if they're, I feel like I'm a good entry for sci-fi for somebody who's already in romantasy. Zoe Draven is a great entry into sci-fi.
Love Zoe Draven.
Yeah. So I think it would depend on where they are. You gotta meet them where they're at,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of like Beauty and the Beast being everybody's, it is a tale as old as time, quite literally.
Yeah.
I feel like depending on where they fall on they wish Bella and the Beast actually got together, or do they enjoy the shifting part?
Right.
That's where I'm like, oh, that's the break. Cool.
Yep.
I can give you some recommendations based on where you are.
That's very
like the
fair.
litmus test. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is where you are on the spectrum? Great. I know.
Yeah.
I had a real example of that where I'm like, wow, I thought we were all on the same page, but I guess we're not.
Right.
Or I was telling, sorry, Mom. I was telling my mom about Sickbend, and I was trying to explain part of his appeal or whatever. And I was like, so you know how like when you watch the Phantom of the Opera and you thought that the Phantom was like super hot and you wanted them to end up together? And she's like, he was the villain. No. And I'm like, oh. Uh-oh. I guess we're not all on the same
I'm feeling
page.
attacked.
All right. Well, let me back up. So some people think that no.
We got to go back a few paces. So
Yeah, so that's a
picture
really
this.
that's a good question. It's like, did you enjoy Beast or Adam Beast?
Yeah.
That's a
Mhm.
great
Yeah.
breaking off point there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone has that like, and I feel like it for me it happened in my teen years when I started reading romance and like would trade romance books with friends and we're like, oh, we're reading this, and people you become very quickly aware of like your preferences are not everybody
Yeah.
else's. You're like, oh, so like
Oh,
I'm okay with the orc.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
like this. But
Yes.
you're only okay with the blonde surfer. Got you. We can appreciate each
Yeah.
other,
Understood.
but we are different. We are
Yeah.
different.
We are different. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My friends have gotten to watch me like run the full gamut of like
Mhm.
starting from the bottom and now I'm way up here.
Yeah.
And every once in a while I'm kind of like, "Hey, so you know how I like read these books? I feel like you should try."
Yeah.
And slowly I'm getting like one by one. They're like, "You know
Yeah.
what? You've talked about this book long enough." And I'm like, "Thank God."
Yeah.
Welcome.
I feel like I don't think I did it consciously, but I feel like I almost did that in my series where I was like, the first one, he's human. He looks pretty human. Nothing crazy.
Hmm.
Nothing. Second one, pretty human. Third one, he's blue. Don't pull. Keep going. Keep going. Next one, he's fine. He's not blue. He's human. Oh, is there a tail? Maybe there's a tail. And then just keep going further and further. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
And then there's horns.
And then there's horns.
And that's
Oh, look at
good
that.
for us. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good for us. That is so, so
Slowly
funny.
pulling them in.
Yes.
I feel like also like this beautiful surgence of like, and I don't, maybe it's just, again, it's maybe because of where I am in my life and like my little corner of the internet, but like people having like smutty book clubs with their friends where they're like, we're gonna read the craziest, gnarliest, sexiest thing that we can, and we're gonna go to
Yeah.
a bar and we're gonna talk about it,
Uh,
which I'm like so here for. But I'm like, I feel like people are way more open about having conversations about books they're reading, romance books they're reading, and like less shame, or at least again, in my little corner of my friends.
Oh no, yeah, I
Right.
mean, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, romance has always been the top selling genre, but it's not publicly talked about.
Right.
It's only very recently. I mean, we have all of these conventions and stuff now where women are getting together to just celebrate their love of romance, and
Yep.
it's so heartwarming to see because it's always been there, but
Yep.
it's been, so buried under this layer of shame tied to female sexuality that it's so beautiful to see it so like publicly celebrated now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
True. Love. Oh, I was gonna ask a nope, you please go. It's your
No,
turn.
no, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, because we were talking about like subgenres and stuff, but like what is your like nichiest niche subgenre of romance that you read that you're like, I am the 1% that reads this subgenre?
I've read a lot. I've read a
I
lot.
I believe you.
Um, Nichiest niche. I mean, I've been pretty deep into sci-fi, and
Yes.
there are some deep sci-fi holes. There's, what is it? Like, what do they call it? Like love pollen, anything that's like an aphrodisiac that spreads where you can't control XYZ and, Prison Planet. Prison Planet is a great
Mm.
subgenre of sci-fi
Okay.
romance. I feel like just kind of within sci-fi romance, what comes to mind, but I don't really read it, but Sentient Object is a new, really cool
Oh, yes.
genre of romance. I have some very good friends, Para Valentine, who
Yeah.
have really pioneered that genre.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Unfortunate Reads, Clover Holloway, I mean, so that's a pretty cool new and emerging
Yep.
genre, like niche genre of sci-fi or of romance that I really like. I was into for a while um, time travel romance, not
Mm,
necessarily Diana Gabaldon, but like other ones.
yeah.
But I always get too mad because like I studied a lot of history in school and I'm like, why aren't we talking about this? you wouldn't be able to understand them. Even like, a couple hundred years, it would be completely foreign to you, even if you were in America. You can't understand them. What are we talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Like, give me a TARDIS explanation or don't write it.
Yes.
Just throw in and there's a translator and then I'm fine. But it's
exactly
like, why aren't we smelling things differently? Why aren't we noting the quality of the air? Why aren't we talking? I just can't deal with it.
I feel like that's you, Deirdre, with clothes and books. You're like, why are we talking about this?
Yeah.
I have one friend who, especially for historical romance, any kind of anachronisms and like clothing that is not accurate to the time period, she drives her absolutely. That's something that I don't care about, but that's something that she deeply cares
drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm such a historical romance girl, and I'm always like, gah!
Yeah.
Victoria, why do you think husband school doesn't exist in our world? And why are people dumb? And we should have it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Short answer is the patriarchy, right?
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think, my degree is in archaeology, and so we studied a lot about like the evolution of cultures and how things evolved, right? And the earliest deities are women. The earliest like representation of that kind is female. And so I think just the way that we evolved into a more like patriarchal structure in most societies, I just imagine like, well, what if that never happened? What if women continued to be valued in the way that they were initially valued, not as like, being superior in some way, but just being incredible in the ways that we are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that kind of bled into what I felt women would do in a situation like what they're going through on Clicania. So I wouldn't say that husband school was always the way it is in the books. It was kind of built and like formed and enhanced from the need to have the best partners, be procreating or trying to procreate basically. But I just don't think that I don't think it could happen here. I think they would revolt. You trying to teach me something?
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be great if the ones who did do it were the only ones that women picked?
Would be nice.
Would be nice. Would be nice. I think not even so extreme. I just think like an openness to learning. I've never understood from all people, not just, throwing a blanket over men, but there's a hesitation to admit that you don't know things a lot of the time from people. And I just wish that people were more open to learning and wanting to learn and respecting having an education in certain things. And so I think it would be great, but no dice.
Yeah. Some people just can't get over the like fear of lack of knowledge and like and admitting that there's a hole.
Yeah.
And like the ego
embarrassing
of that.
Yeah.
It's like the only way that you know
move forward is by trying to learn something. I love learning.
Yeah.
I love asking questions. It's my favorite thing to do. I love being like, you know more about this than me? Tell me this.
Tell me about it.
I mean, a PowerPoint night? Are you kidding me? That's the best time.
We love
PowerPoint nights.
Yeah.
Okay, our last question before we get into current reads. What can you talk about publicly that is coming down the pipeline for you? What is the future of the Clicanian series? Your Kickstarter, Wet and Wetter. The comic bundle just closed back in February. So is there anything that you can tell us about what is in your pipeline?
So right now I'm working on the first book in a different series, a paranormal romance series. So hopefully that'll be amazing and everyone will like it.
We will like it for sure.
Yeah.
We'll like it.
You have two purchasers right here.
And then after I'm done with the first book of that series, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do the next book of the Clicanian series.
Okay.
And I haven't landed on who I want it to be. I'm between two people, and it really depends on which one helps the background plot more.
Mm.
Because I think for one of them, their story is good, but I don't know if we're there in the world yet to have
Mm.
their stuff happen. So I might be doing another book before to get us to that other book. So
Oh,
I
another
don't
book. Pull my leg.
Womp womp.
I have no idea how long this series is going to be either, so I don't
Coming.
And I'm so happy to hear that.
know.
It was the correct answer, actually.
Oh,
There was a right or wrong answer.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
Oh,
I'm
and the Kickstarter, yeah. So that should be amazing. Listening Stars, they're incredible. They're doing it, and they just started working on actually illustrating the little comic duo.
Oh, great.
I was just at a Polycon, and we were at like our block had Emma Ham and me and Listening Stars, and we were all there
Mm.
together. So that was fun.
Yes.
And Listening Stars is actually going to be turning Saving Verico, the whole thing into a graphic novel through this year. So she's starting on that too, which is why they did the Kickstarter in the first place, was to fund the art team that's going to be illustrating the comic. Yeah.
Oh,
So it should be fun.
so fun.
Yeah,
So fun.
pretty excited.
life
And I
is
think
worth
the
living.
Kickstarter might still be open for like late pledges if anybody wanted
Oh,
that.
cool.
You
Okay.
guys,
You
get
you
on
heard
it.
it here, folks.
Mhm.
Get on it.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Well, Victoria, thanks so much for this beautiful conversation. Um,
Yes.
if it wasn't clear, we love you.
Oh,
We love you so much. And we love your books. So thank you for coming on and chatting with us. We really, really appreciate it. We've come to the part of our episode where we talk about our current reads.
yeah.
Does anyone want to go first?
I can go.
Go, Queen,
I
go.
think I have it right here, actually. I just finished Birth of a Dynasty by
Ooh.
Chinaza Bado. So I'm in my fantasy era. I just reread, actually, Paladin's Grace by T. Kingfisher, which is one of my favorite fantasy romances, which I needed a little bit of a palate cleanser after this one because this is a hefty fantasy.
Mm.
So it's a political intrigue that follows these three families that are sort of like in power. And one of the families is deciding that it wants to like take down the power structure of these families. And so we meet one of our main characters, Mukuru, when he is a little boy, and it is the night that his whole family is being massacred.
No.
And he's being like pushed out through a secret tunnel by his mom and with his sister to go find help and to just be secret people that like made it out and nobody knows.
Wow.
And he watches his dad be killed, and his dad's like final words are that the ancestors of him will seek vengeance and are going to come back on this family tenfold, and that is what this little boy is sort of left with. And it's not really a spoiler because it does happen right at the beginning. His sister doesn't even make it, so it's just him.
Rough.
And he ends up being found by this farm family, and he takes on the persona of somebody else. He takes on another name, he gets absorbed into this family as the son, and there is a seer in this family that did the massacring who then all of a sudden can't see him. And so he has done a good enough job of assimilating into this other persona where now he quite literally doesn't exist anymore to the like greater powers that be. But he is also part of this very large prophecy for the world, where someone from his family and someone from the third family that we have yet to meet are meant to fall in love, and their relationship will bring about a completely new situation in the world. And that's basically what this destructive family is trying to prevent. So we very slowly start to meet other people from the other families and get to learn the court structure. And it's so juicy and violent. And I love that we get to see this kid go from being a kid to he's like a teenager by the middle and end of the book. And the sequel comes out in November. I'm really excited to see sort of where it goes. The twists are twisty. I like have, there's no way that I can predict how she's going to run this because she starts the twist from the jump. And you're just like, okay, I'm along for the ride. And I loved it. So this is the latest thing I'm hyper fixating on.
It's beautiful. It's got a
It's
beautiful
stunning. It's so beautiful. So like each family has like a animal crest thing that's theirs, and each of them has like some type of magical thing about them. So Makuru's family has this sword that gets passed down, and the only people that can touch it are the family members. Like people from other families try and touch it and they end up getting burned and are like harmed by the sword. So there's all these like really fun fantasy elements that like keep it moving, which is cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm not as, that was very professional.
No, I just had a lot to say. I've been holding on to that for a couple weeks.
Okay, well, I am a Kindle reader, so I am currently reading Slewfoot by
Yeah.
Prom. I'm really enjoying the vibes. They're very much like if you watched the movie The Witch, you know,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
vibe where it's very spooky and you don't really know what's happening and you're following a girl whose name is something like Agatha,
Huh?
something like that.
Mm.
I don't remember. And because I'm not good at names, sorry
That's
guys. But she's married to her husband, and she's originally from, I think she came over from England, and she's in like the colonies kind of situation, and she's married to her husband, and we keep getting like POVs from something, and we don't know necessarily what it is. It's like a spooky kind of devilish like thing with these little like demons that talk to it too. It's very cool, very spooky. I'm really enjoying it. It's very like aesthetic for that kind of time period. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm listening to I don't even remember what book we're on now, like 7 or 8, 6, something like that, of the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, which it's what we listen to on road trips, which we do a lot when we're going to like conventions and stuff. We listen to this book, and part of the reason that I love it is it's a lit RPG, which is like basically he's in a game, right? He's like in a video game. And so you are constantly getting like updates on his stats and like how he's grinding levels to get up to higher levels. And so a lot of the book is that, which is not something that I personally care about as much.
Sure.
So I fall asleep during those parts. And then I wake up for when the bits of plot happen. And those are very, very fun. So I'm kind of like getting an abridged version of those books, but I really enjoy them and I'm interested to see where they go. And then actually, I haven't started it yet, but I'm in a book club and they picked this one.
Ooh.
That's the new Ilona Andrews.
Yes.
And I heard very good things. I think supposedly what it's about is I don't know if they're like a fantasy lover or like a reader or something, but they have a world that they read a lot, like a Game of Thrones style world or whatever, and they get pulled into it. They wake up in this world and they're trying to figure out how to live and survive in the world, which seems like it could be very fun. Ilona Andrews, they're kind of an OG. They've been around for a really long time.
Forever.
Well, forever. And they're interesting because they're a husband and wife duo writing team, which I think is really cool. Yeah. So I'm excited to start that also.
Oh,
Well read. Well read.
yeah. Great options.
I know none of them explicitly romance right now, but hey, I'm enjoying them all.
Heck yeah. Um, yeah, I'm also not reading a romance book right now, which is crazy. Crazy.
I'm writing
No,
one
you're
too.
not.
I'm the one reading a romance.
That
So my family book club is reading The Sword of Kagan by M.L. Wang. We read Blood Over Brighthaven earlier this year, and freaking loved it. They were both my older sister's picks. So Shadow Nicolette, who's the high fantasy lover of our family, she's like, "We're gonna do this," and I'm like, "Amazing." Um, it's crazy. It's also one where I'm like, I'm just like, because I like to like go, I like to be led through things. I'm like, so
yeah,
I'm a little bit like, do I actually know what's going on? Not really,
get
but I'm
there.
having fun. I'm
Yeah.
having fun.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like most people have heard of this book at this point, but it's kind of like um Avatar: The Last Airbender-esque style of like people are able to control and own different elemental powers within this town that is like very isolated from the other part of the continent that I totally know the name of. And basically, a new boy moves to town and he's like, "You guys are being kind of like low-key brainwashed." And the kid's like, "No, no, 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 you guys, no, 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 no." And the other kid's like, "For sure, you guys kind of are. It's all propaganda." And then the kid's like, "Oh my God, it is." And then like we go from there. Um, it's I have one critique. Not that I could critique Emma Wang, but I do have one critique. Uh, in the book, I don't know if you read the book, Deirdre, or if you
I
listened to
did. I
you read
read
it. Okay.
it.
In the book, anytime someone's speaking, I think it's if they're speaking a different language. I can't hold on. I have an issue that I don't remember what the issue is. Um, yeah, the dialogue in this book is italicized when the point of view characters hearing or speaking a language other than their native language.
Yeah.
So all of the dialogue is italicized in this book.
Oh, how do they do
Um,
thought? Do they have thoughts that they?
it's because they all speak different languages, and it's like, oh, this person's not speaking their native language; they're speaking to this person in their language. Like I'm sure there was a thought behind it, but for me, I'm like, it just feels very much like I'm reading a play almost. Like I just feel like I'm skipping to the dialogue, and I'm like, Danielle, you got to go back and read the other sentences.
Are
Uh,
there like quotation
Yeah.
marks around the italicized dialogue?
I think so, yes.
I'm just wondering how they do thoughts and or like emphasis on words or anything like that in other parts of their writing.
Well, here's a great example.
Okay.
Um, in like in this chapter, there's a letter, so it's italicized, the letter, because it's in a different language, but there's no quotations. But then, like later in that chapter, uh, one of the professors is like lecturing, and it's just like chunks of italicized text, in
Oh,
like one quotation, and then
huh.
at the end, it's interesting. Like it's a first for me. So it's taking a little bit of like um I have to be like, okay, you gotta read all of it. You can't just
Yeah.
skip to the next
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
But that's a Danielle again, that's a user error, a user issue. It's just I've never because it's always kind of just been like again, we were talking about books, it's like someone just puts a convention in where they're like, and then they all can talk to each other, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Then
Yeah.
I'm like, for someone to have like been like, no, they're speaking this, and I'm like, that's I love that you know that.
Yeah.
I don't really don't do it. But it's really
Yeah.
good. It's really sad so far. The
Very.
mom character is badass. Love the mom character. She's
Oh,
really
yeah.
freaking cool. Um, I just yeah, this is it's really it's a thinker. It's a thinker, thinker, thinker. So I'm excited. But Blood Over Brighthaven was one of my favorite books. Um, actually don't remember if I read it last year or this year, dude. I can't remember. The time is merging together.
I know.
Yeah.
Um, but highly recommend you pick up an ML Wang if you have not, because you'll be sad. But don't go for romance. There's none.
No.
Don't let this episode like lull you into thinking there's any kind of happiness in this book.
Yeah,
Not
fair enough.
really.
Mm-mm. Thank you so much, Victoria, for joining us on the pod.
Thank
It has been
you.
an absolute pleasure chatting with you. In the event that our listeners are not familiar with you, where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram at Victor. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, please. Please.
I don't know. I never know off the top of my head because it's like I think it's Victoria Aveline author.
Mm.
You know? Yeah, Victoria Aveline author on Instagram, and then on TikTok there's the Clickanian series, which is better run because my PA does it. There's actually new videos on there. On my own one, you can follow that too. I think it's like Victoria Aveline, maybe just Victoria Aveline author. But Victoria Aveline author again. No, Victoria Aveline. Sorry, at Victoria. But I'm not great at doing it. So, and then I think most of the places you can find me with just my name, Victoria Aveline.
Yes.
Goodreads,
Yes.
Bub. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Everywhere. My email, you can email me.
Fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
You heard it here
that's how
first.
we got in contact with you. We emailed you.
We did.
Mhm.
It works. It
It
works.
does work. That is it for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for listening. If you want to stay up to date with us, you can head on over to Instagram. We are at Books on the Brain Pod, and you should go ahead on our latest Instagram post and leave us the alien emoji.
Yeah, I think so.
Alien emoji. I have stickers that I give out at signings that say "If you know, you know," and it has a little alien emoji and a little eggplant emoji. So I would say those two.
The alien and the eggplant.
Mhm.
Yes. And that's how we'll know we're all on the same page.
Love.
If you want to follow Danielle or I on our personal pages, I just rebranded and I'm
Woo!
Deirdre's Digital Diary on Instagram and TikTok, still Deirdre Rose Morgan on YouTube, and Enchanted Echoes on Bindery.
And I'm DJ Books on TikTok, Instagram, and on Threads.
That is it for this week's episode. Thank you again, Victoria, for joining us, and we will chat to you all in the next one. Bye!